Hey everyone, welcome back and happy Thursday to you, all you guys and gals that are here. Thank you so much for coming in to spend a little time with me here. A couple things we're going to talk about today is going to be on Terawulf short report. We got also Bitdeer getting a convertible note, $150 million of that. We'll take a look at that really quick. I'll give you guys my thoughts. Bitdeer didn't do it too well today because of it, I think. And then we'll just take a look at the top 5 miners here in July based on the performance from the prior month to July. Other metrics as well. So we look at 6 and 8 metrics on that. We'll get into that, and then we'll get into you guys' Q&A as well. So we'll just rock and roll through it. You guys know the drill. Not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research. If you enjoy this type of content, subscribe. Hit the like button. Helps me out. Okay. Let's take a look at what's going on here with the miners here. Oops, I almost forgot to put that up. Bear with me here while I get my things ready. All right, here we go. So Bitcoin today had a little bit of a rough day today, I think. We were down. I don't know why it went down, really. The only thing I can think of, I think we had some news come out that possibly President Donald Trump might go to jail for 1 year. I don't know if that spooked the market. He's very pro-Bitcoin. We know that. I don't know if that was the effect on the market today, on Bitcoin especially. The rest of the indexes went up, actually, so I don't know if that... I mean, the only thing I can think of was maybe that. I didn't really think of anything else that was there, unless you guys have heard something else on it. But Bitcoin's down today. Just slightly, it was down. Let's see here. Let's go back to the automatic part of it. There we go. Okay, that looks a little bit better. But Bitcoin was down just a little bit today. It was down 1.95%. We closed at 57,547. So we did close above our support line here. We're a little bit below it right now. We'll see where we end up here right now. I mean, it's tough to tell. If we don't hold this support line at 57,500, we will be going back down to test our next support line, which is going to be 53,750 roughly. At that point, maybe even up a little higher here, like 54,000 maybe, because it seems like we kind of bounced off of it back there. But we'll see. Miners, on the other hand, had a really good day today for the most part. There were some that were down, like we talked about here in the beginning. Bitdeer didn't do so well, but any was up, down 4%, 4.5% roughly. Argo was up a little bit here, 1.65. Bitdeer, Bitdigital, was down 1.38. Bitdeer was down 18% today, and that's... we'll talk about the story there, about the convertible notes that they're offering. I'm guessing that had to do with it, the impact on the stock today. Bitfarms is up 3.14%. Cypher was up 5 3/4. Yep. Cleanspark was up 3%. CORZ was up 5 1/4 roughly. Digihost was up 3.1. DMG was up 3. Hive was up 2.5. Hut was up 6.2. IREN was up 3. Mara was up 2.1. Mawson was actually down 13%, right? Mawson came out with a report that they are getting a HPC customer. This was back on Monday. Stock did really, really well. It pumped even higher on Tuesday, then came back down a little bit. And then we've been coming back down here. And there's some concerns, questions regarding the customer there. I haven't really looked into it, but I've just heard some stuff on Twitter Spaces and places like that where they're a little concerned with the customer there, that it might be a shell company or something like that. I'm not sure on that one. If you guys have any insights, definitely comment in the comments. Riot was up just slightly, 0.39%. Stronghold was down 0.36%. And Wolf was actually up today, 7.46%. I don't know exactly when the short report came out on them. But, I mean, you can see here they were up actually on the day, and then they came back down. I'm guessing that had somewhat of an impact on the stock. We'll see what Wolf does tomorrow. We'll also take a look at the short report and give you guys my thoughts on it as well. All right, so that's it for Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. Let's get into the stories that we do have here. First one's going to be on Bitdeer. So they announced proposed offering of 150 million convertible notes. This came out today. So the company is going to get 150 million aggregate principal amount of its convertible notes due in 2029. The company also intends to grant the underwriters in the offering a 30-day option to purchase up to an additional 22.5 million of aggregate amounts of notes on the same terms and conditions solely to cover over allotments. Okay, and then the company will pay or deliver to such convertible holders as the case may be, cash, Class A ordinary shares, par value of what is that, 1/1,000,000th of a penny or something like that per share, or of the company's Class A ordinary shares, or a combination of the cash and Class A ordinary shares at its election. So they're either going to give out shares or cash at that point. And I think that's kind of what maybe spooked the market there. The company intends to use the net proceeds from the offering for data center expansion, ASIC-based mining rig development, as well as working capital and other general corporate purposes. So we saw, who else did we see here? We saw Core come out with a convertible notes this week. We saw Marathon also. And if we look at those guys here on the weekly here, let's just take a look at see how they did. Marathon here came out with it on the 13th, I think it was, just a couple of days ago. Yeah. And the stock did go down on the following day in August, next day on Wednesday. Was up a little bit here today. IREN, not IREN, sorry, CORZ. CORZ, where's CORZ? There it is. Was actually, let's see, they came out with the news yesterday, I think. And you can see here, or they came out with it on Monday or Tuesday, I can't remember. But you can see the stock definitely did drop because of it. And then it came back up here recently in the last 2 days. So maybe we'll see the same thing with Bitdeer. Once the dust settles a little bit here, they might start to pick up a little bit here because, you know, they're going to use it. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about convertible notes. If they pay back in cash, which they might be able to do, especially if Bitcoin goes up in value and things like that, it might be a good thing to do it. It's also maybe less interest rates. Well, I don't think they have interest rates on it. Maybe they do. I would have to look into it. But I think it's okay, right? They're not, well, they could dilute shares if they pay it off in shares. And I think that's kind of maybe what spooked the market there on it. We'll see how it does tomorrow. Okay, so that's it for Bitdeer here. And then we got Terawulf. So Terawulf had basically a short report come out on them from Grizzly Reports or Grizzly Research. And they state here the following. So we'll get into a little bit of the things here. If a lot of the stuff is true, then it is kind of damning as far as on Terawulf here. But I don't know how much of it is true. I mean, we would really have to look back into it and look into the research of it all. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff in here. But they state here, Bureau of Terawulf, we believe the company is a charade to enrich insiders at the cost of investors and backed by notorious pump and dump artists. I mean, it's kind of like the boilerplate template for all of these short reports here. But here's what they have to say. So we believe Terawulf is a house of cards used by insiders to enrich themselves to the tune of over $100 million since 2021. Terawulf is a 2021 RTO fueled by crypto hype and generates revenues from mining Bitcoin with operations in Western New York, Central Pennsylvania. The company quickly went public and first secured Bitcoin miners from the company plagued with operations and faulty miners. Okay, I don't recall hearing that, but maybe that was the case. Let's see here. The CEO's private company, Beowulf, provides several critical items to Terawulf, including leasing the facilities, headquarters, and have agreements to do all the maintenance and upkeep on the facilities. According to our research, Beowulf virtually takes care of the entire operations. And I've heard that before, too. I think I've heard that as well. So that might be the case there. I'm not sure. But a lot of this report is based on Paul Prager, the CEO there, which he owns Beowulf as well. And it seems like it's centered around him and a couple other people as well. Okay. The two companies' management teams overlap considerably, suggesting that insiders are simply double dipping by taking money from both companies. Beowulf has only completed one other crypto mining project, Marathon's Hardin facility, which closed less than 2 years after opening due to operational issues. Yeah, if you remember that, Marathon had a facility, Mount Hardin. They had issues after a storm knocked it out, and this was, I believe, a natural gas plant, I believe. I don't think it was coal. I believe it was natural gas. My memory serves me correct. So by their accounts, it was a very poorly performing crypto mine. And yeah, Marathon did get rid of it. They basically closed operations at that point. This was back in, when was this back in? 2022, I think. Like around August, I think. And that one. And then the number of related party transactions is so excessive that Terawulf had more related party costs than revenue in 2022. And then here they say that we find that CEO Paul Prager and his friends are using his previously failed business assets from Beowulf to siphon as much money out of the publicly company as possible. It is a heads, I win, tails, you lose situation for management against shareholders. Okay. What else we got here? Terawulf's second largest shareholder is an entity controlled by Brian Pascal, an individual involved in the 2018 Riot blockchain scandal. Geez, I didn't cover Riot back then, so I'm not sure about this one. He is accused of helping Riot's management hide related party transactions. Okay, so that's not good. Research uncovers that Terawulf's third largest shareholder is an entity controlled by the wife of John O'Rourke, the disgraced CEO of Riot blockchain, who was charged for his part of a $27 million lucrative market manipulation scheme by the SEC. John Rourke has deep ties with stock promoter Barry Honig, who is now barred from offering penny stocks and owning more than basically 5% of any microcap company. O'Rourke has been behind many of the company's financings, including private placements, private stocks, and convertible notes since the very beginning. Companies associated with John O'Rourke and Barry Honig have an average decline of 92%. So that's obviously not good, but how much of it is true, I don't know. I'll have to look into it. Like I said, a lot of the stuff, if it is true, it's pretty damning. Then what else do we have here? Let's see, Terawulf has missed its original projections from ridiculous margins. In the June 2020 investor deck, the company expected to have mined, was that 16,000 Bitcoin? 16,751 Bitcoin, generating 807 million revenue in 2023, but in reality only mined 3,407, generating 69 million in revenue, missing estimates by 79%. And then okay. Again, I don't think I covered Terawulf at that point. And then 10 employees. What do we have here? Oh, I think it goes in here about, they go into about John Rourke's or whoever Rourke's wife is also on the company here with Beowulf. Where's that at? I think, was it in here? Oh, I'm trying to see. No, I don't see it in here. But they go on to talk about how maybe O'Rourke's, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing his name right. Yeah. O'Rourke's wife is at Beowulf right now. So it's kind of a little bit concerning there. You guys obviously can take a look at this, read it all. It's pretty long. It's pretty detailed on all the things that they go into, and they provide a lot of links to everything else. It goes on and on and on. So we'll see how the stock does tomorrow on it. With any of these short reports that you get from these investments or research firms, whatever it might be, they seem to time it pretty well. We saw the one that came out for IREN. IREN at that point was looking like it was pretty overvalued. And the same thing is looking right now for Terawulf as well. If we look at the enterprise value per exahash, Terawulf is the most overvalued right now based on the metrics for exahash to enterprise value on both current hash rate and future hash rate. So we said, like I said, we saw the same thing happen with IREN. IREN at that point was the most overvalued. It's definitely dropped back down to, it's now in the middle here for current and way down here on the future hash rate growth. But before it was like way overvalued on current and like towards the top overvalued here in the future hash rate as well. And then stock came down because of the short report. So it is interesting. I don't know how much weight there is to it or how much truth there is to it. They do make a pretty convincing case if you read through it on it. And a lot of these short reports do that because it does kind of, they're trying to persuade you and other investors into believing that this company is bad. They're, bad for the investors and things like that. I don't know. I'll let you guys make the decision here. I would have to spend a lot of hours going into this really deep here to really see if there's any real truth into that. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. Okay. So that's it on Terawulf's short report from Grizzly Research. And next we're going to get into the miners here compared to on 6 and 8 metrics here. So we're looking at top 5 Bitcoin miners for operations in July of 2024. We look at month-over-month hash rate growth, BTC percentage sold, Bitcoin per exahash efficiency, month-over-month BTC mined percentage increase or decrease, BTC mined in general, days mined, so operational uptime, current hash rate, and HODL. So those are the 8 metrics. And then on 6 metrics, we take out the HODL and the current hash rate and look at things, how they stack up that way. So we'll look at the first 2 things here, and hopefully you guys can see that pretty well. Maybe I'll zoom this in for you guys here. Let's go to 150%. I think we can go to 150% on it. Okay, there we go. So now you guys can see that a lot better. So the month-over-month percentage hash rate growth, higher is always better here. Terawulf had a nice increase of 14%, followed by Core at 8%, Bitfarms at 7%, Riot at 5%, and then IREN at 4.7%, and Cleanspark at 4%. So the top 5 would be Iris, Riot, Bitfarms, Core, and Terawulf on that month. As far as percentage hash rate growth, current hash rate, Marathon still the top player here with basically 28 exahash. Riot at 23, Cleanspark at 21, Core at 21 exahash as well. Bitfarms at 11 exahash. So those are the top 5 there for those. BTC per exahash efficiency higher is better. Here Hive came in at number 1, 23.36, really good efficient. Cleanspark came in at number 2, 23.24. Then we got Bitfarms at 22.62, Marathon at 22.39, and in the 5th spot is Bitdeer, 22.13. So those are the top 5 here as far as efficiencies are concerned. And then month over month BTC mined here, Riot had a nice increase here, really good increase, a 45% increase from the prior month. Bitfarms also 33% as well. And you got Marathon 17%, Cleanspark 11%, Terawulf at 10%. So those are the top 5 there. And you can see how everybody else stacks up below there. BTC mined, Marathon mined the most at 646 Bitcoin, Cleanspark 494, Core 411, Riot 370, and Bitfarms 253. Those are the top 5 there for BTC mined. Days mined here, Hive again coming in really good here at 30.24 days. Bitfarms really good also, 29.97. BitDigital 29.09. Cleanspark 28.81, and then Cypher 28.64. Those are the top 5 here in July. Looking at the HODL position, again, Marathon with the most HODL here at 20,000, followed by Riot at 9.7 thousand, HUD at 9.1, Cleanspark at 7, and then you got Hive at 2.5. Those are the top 5 for that. BTC sold here. Marathon didn't actually had a negative, and the reason they have a negative is because they bought, what did they buy, like 1,000 Bitcoins or something like that. I can't remember how much they bought. It was close to like 1,000 or something like that, like $100 million worth of Bitcoin they bought. So they didn't sell anything. They actually had an increase there. So they're the number 1 there. Riot's sold 0%, so they're number 2 spot. Cleanspark just barely here, 0.6%. BitDigital sold 7.6%, followed by Bitfarms 56.1. Those are the top 5 there, and you can see how everybody else stacks up down below. And that is it on the 8 metrics here. So based on all that, we have the scores for the scores based on the 8 metrics and scores based on the 6 metrics here, and here's how it all came out to be. So everybody gets scored. Basically, the best miners get 1 through 12. If they're tied, they get the same number, and it keeps going down through 12 here. And then we add it all up, and then we do a score for it. So here's the score. Here's how it came out. We got Cleanspark as number 1 on all the 8 metrics here, followed by Marathon, pretty close to them, followed by Bitfarms at 32, Riot at 39, and then we got Hive and CORZ tied for 55 points at number 5 spot on that one. And then we got Hot 8 here with 74 points, not doing well on the metrics here. Then when we look at the 6 metrics here, which don't include HODL or current hash rate, things changed, and we have a new number 1 here. I don't think we've had Bitfarms here as number 1 since we've been doing this, I don't think. But Bitfarms came in at 20 points here with being the number 1 spot. Cleanspark with 21 points. Marathon with 28. Riot with 35. Hive with 39. Those are the top 5 here for July on the 6 metrics of things. So when we look at the actual individual scores here on all these guys here, let's go back to number 1 here, Cleanspark. This is based on the 8 metrics. We can see Cleanspark has a pretty good low score on all of these things. The only high score that they had was still below the average here of 6 points. Right, the highest 12, best is like 1 or 0. And they got a 6 here, so they're right at the average line here for it. They got Marathon here. Marathon scored pretty well. A lot of 1s here on all of these, but the ones that really did hurt them was the month-over-month hash rate, percentage growth here, and the days mined on them. Then when we look at Bitfarms here, Bitfarms also pretty good scores here, pretty low. The only one that held them back a little bit here was BTC HODLed. They scored number 7 here. Everything else was below average, which is good here on that one. Riot, 2 big things that were not good for them was BTC per exahash efficiency. They got 12 spot on that, and then days mined here also 12 spot on that. And that goes to their operations. Uptime is important. Everything else was really good. If they could fix the operational uptime and get much better efficiencies, then I would imagine they start getting, like in the 1 spot, 2 spot possibly, because everything else is looking really good for them. Hive here, pretty high on some of these things here. Month-over-month percentage, month-over-month BTC mined, current hash rate. All right, we need to see improvements in those things. Everything else, BTC per exahash, really efficient miner. Days mined also really, really good. Uptime is excellent. And then we have Bitcoin sold. They sold quite a bit there as well. Then you got Core here, kind of high on a couple of these things. BTC per exahash, month-over-month, BTC mined, days mined, BTC HODLed, BTC sold. And finally going into Cypher, you can see that, how it all stacks up, followed by Terawulf on that one as well. I'm not going to go through all these guys here. Iris, you can see how Iris stacked up here. Iris had a kind of bad month in July. Their cost for electricity was higher than their revenue for Bitcoin mining, which wasn't good. We'll see if we get a nice improvement here in August. And then you got Bitdeer here, kind of flat across the board, followed by BitDigital as well, kind of high on some of these things. And then you got Hot 8 here as well. All right, now when we look at the averages over the last 12 months, so I keep track of all the scores here each month that we get for these guys here. And then here's how everything gets tracked in my little tables here, and that's how we run the data and the graphs on it. But here's the 12-month average score and ranking here. This is on the 8 metrics. Cleanspark is still number 1 here. They average about 28 points over the last 12 months. Marathon number 2 spot, followed by CORZ, Bitfarms, and Hive here, the top 5 here, and how everybody else stacked up afterwards. The thing for CORZ, I have data on them only going for like 6 months instead of 12 months. So they're getting a little bit, maybe you have an advantage here a little bit. Okay. And then we look at the 6 metrics here on that don't include HODL or hash rate. We still have Cleanspark coming in number 1, 22. Hive number 2 now spot. So Hive is actually doing pretty good here at 33 points. Bitfarms at 34 points. And then we got Iris at 35 points, followed by CORZ. So those are the top 5 here. And then everybody else down below that. All right, so I use these metrics quite a bit here to see how they're doing month over month. And that kind of leads me to which miners are operating better than other miners here. And then especially if you look at the longer time frame, like the 12 months, you kind of get to see which are like possibly the top miners going forward. There are some variations in this, depending on the metrics they use, right? The 8 metrics include HODL and current hash rate. If you take those out based on operational side of things, things look a little bit different here, and you can see those differences there. Marathon here with the 8 metrics was number 2 spot, but take out those, the huge HODL that they have and the hash rate that they have right now, and they come in at, what is that, 3, 6, 8 spot? They come in 8 spot. CORZ being 3 here, they're now 4. Bitfarms over here being in the 4th spot comes down to 3rd spot. Hive was 5 spot here, goes down to 2nd spot. So you can see how much of an impact that has on the miners in general. Okay, but that's just one of the metrics that I like to use along with like the enterprise value to exahash and other things as well, just to see how the miners are doing, which ones might be the better get here in the long term. But that's it. Let's get into your guys' Q&A side of things. But first, my sales pitch as always. You guys know this. Patreon members, thank you to all the Patreon members. Thank you to all the YouTube members. That reminds me, I got to give you the YouTube members a new version of the PDFs for the spreadsheets here. So I'll do that either tonight or tomorrow. I will get that out to you guys. And that's for Patreon members. It's only $8 a month. Right now, if you pay the annual subscription, it is 10% off, and there might be some spots open in the $5 or $4 tier range. You get access to everything, regardless of the tier that you're in, and also get access to the private Discord server as well in that. Okay, so that's it for that. Let's get into your guys' Q&A side of things here, see what you guys have to say. If you guys have any questions or anything like that. If not, we are going to call it a pretty quick and easy day. All right, we're going in. What are we going in here in about half an hour or so already? Okay. What do we got as far as questions? Let's see. Diana says Trump should have waited closer to election to announce pro-crypto. Government manipulation just like oil last election. Oh, that's right. That reminds me. Thank you for reminding me. I think, what was it, yesterday or today? The government moved like, 10,000 coins to Coinbase Pro, I think, to sell. Maybe that had an impact on it as well. Mark says Marathon crushes it across the board and then gets a few metrics that are relevant to them. They're killing it. Well, not really irrelevant. I think it's important for Marathon, especially for all the miners. I think uptime, efficiency, and exahash efficiency, those are pretty important because the way I look at it is if you have really good uptime, you can pay off those miners much quicker than if your uptime is lower on those things. So I look at it, I do put a lot of weight into that as well. Especially when we look at the quarterly results for the miners, I put metrics that are non-weighted and weighted metrics, what I think is important. That definitely plays a big role into it. Let's see. Rocco says, Riot improves BTC mined by 50%, but it's 12th in days mined at 20 days. How does this make sense? They were operational at Corsicana for 75% of the time. Rockdale was 65%. That's why, unfortunately. Based on what they had installed machines, things like that, that's kind of where they are. So that's why I keep saying that they need to improve their uptime. What else? Thoughts on miner prices versus rate cuts. Well, I think it's going to be a good thing. If we get rate cuts, I think that's going to be good thing for risk on assets. That's what I'm trying to say. So I think it's going to be good. I think the miners right now are pretty close to their bottom if they haven't already bottomed out. So the risk to reward, I think, is really good on the miners right now. If you're looking to get in, if you haven't got into them, I think right now is a good time to get in. You're not getting the basement prices on them like you would have if you bought in at the end of 2022, right in December. They were really like bottom prices at that point, bottom basement prices. What is your prediction for IREN next month? Update for exahash growth. Well, they are at, where are they at right now? What do I have them at? Let's take a look at IREN really quick here. IREN screenshot. Okay. They are at 10. They're supposed to get to 20 exahash by the end of Q3. So we got basically the end of August and September as well. So if they're trying to get to 20, oh, excuse me, I had a burp. If they're trying to get to 20 exahash by the end of Q3, they need to install at least like 5 exahash, if not more, here in August. At least around maybe 3 to 5 exahash, because they will have to install a lot in September to get to the 20 exahash that they were targeting at that point. But we'll see what they come out with. I know that they're, building out infrastructure and getting things installed as quickly as they can. We'll see how close they can get to it. If they get close to like 16, 17 exahash by the end of, and they're off by a month or something like that, I'm okay with that. That's not bad. Some things you can't foresee. I mean, you try to do it as best you can, but you're going to be, late a little bit sometimes. As long as you're not late a year, I wouldn't hold that against them. Okay, going back here. Let's see. Bitdeer got killed today. Any thoughts at this range if it's worth an investment? I still think Bitdeer is undervalued from where it really should be. And let's see here. Where is it at? Over here. Okay. So Bitdeer, I have them with, let's see here, between 14.25 and 21.38 here. Currently, they're at 6.33. I think they're undervalued. They have a lot of, they have huge potential going forward. They're building their own ASICs, which are going to give them great costs on those. So they're going to be getting those at basically cost to mine or cost to build, basically. So that's going to be a huge help for them. They are improving those ASICs going forward into next year. They'll get more efficient miners as well. And they have a lot of growth into 2025, into 2026 as well with Ohio. And then there's another one, and I can't remember that name. It starts with a B. Oh gosh, I can't remember that name right now. But the facilities that they're building out, I mean, they're increasing their megawatts tremendously in 2025, which should also help them grow their hash rate going forward. Plus, they're looking to get into HPC AI side of things on that. So I believe they have huge potential. And with them being at 633 right now, I think they are way undervalued. And that's with a PE of 10 right now, right? If we have them at PE of 20, because right now they don't have a lot of growth this year, that's why I'm at PE 10. But if we go into 2025 and they get a lot of growth here, we could be looking at like $28 to $42 for the stock at that point. Right, if we see the growth and Bitcoin's going up in value and everything else, that could be a huge thing for them. All right, let's go back to the Q&A side of things. Let's see. Kite says, just buy Cleanspark, consistent winner. They have been my best performing one that I bought into from 2023, or actually 2022, sorry. I've been buying it since $9 a share at that point, and I just continued buying it. Well, as we got the dips, I continued buying into it through, I think, middle of last year. So about a year ago, I was kind of when I stopped buying it because at that point, the stock price was starting to go back up a little bit here. Let's see. If Cleanspark is the biggest miner right now, why do you think Mara's market cap is much larger than Cleanspark? I think there's a couple of reasons for it. One might be name recognition. Mara has the name recognition and also has a much larger HODL. Cleanspark has, 7,000 BTC. Mara has 2x that right now, or actually 3x that. So that, you have to include that into it. And their growth here for this year is going to be 50 exahash compared to Cleanspark 32 exahash. But if you look at efficiencies, uptime, things like that, I think Cleanspark is a better miner. But that doesn't mean that the market is going to look at it that way as well. I can't complain with Cleanspark right now. Like I said, I was buying it in 2022. I'm up huge on it. It's one of the best performing ones that I've had. I think it's even outperformed some of the other miners here in the last 52 weeks, probably even since the bottom of 2022, if we look at that far back. Mike says, options expiry tomorrow morning at 800 hours at 8 o'clock. Okay. Is that on Bitcoin and the miners or just Bitcoin? Let's see. Talked about that one. Let's see here. Question. Mara dropped to $15. It has massively increased its HODL, and as of this moment, they mined 103 blocks and 327 BTC for August. Are you going to buy Mara? Yeah, I mean, okay. I think the same goes for Riot. I would probably buy Riot and Mara if I had more cash. I am just spent on cash right now. I wish I had more cash to buy all these guys. I think Mara is going to do very well going forward. I think Riot's going to do very well forward. I think Cleanspark is going to do great. IREN is going to do great. Bitfarms is going to do great. I just don't have the cash, so I've been using the metrics and the data that I have to try to funnel them down into the miners that I thought were most undervalued and were doing the best job, right? So that led me to Cleanspark in the beginning. After that, it led me to Bitfarms and into IREN here as well recently. After that, we know that Mara has had issues with, well, one, growing their hash rate to where they said they were going to be by the end of 2022. They finally got there in 2023. Operations uptime haven't been great either for them. Same thing with Riot. That's the reason why I haven't gotten into those guys. What else we got here? In my opinion, Cleanspark is buying too many small sites that cause them to have high costs for not much revenue. There's pluses and there's minuses to it as well, right? The nice thing about the smaller sites is you can build them out quicker, right? Also, the power they're paying, what, like I think 4.5 cents per power all in, somewhere around there, 4.5 cents, something like that. So it's not too bad. And you're also looking at having much smaller teams at that point. You can have possibly one or, I don't know exactly on the size of the farms, but you can have a couple of people per farm operating those things, and you can, even if they're close together nearby, you can have a couple of people managing multiple farms. So that's also beneficial there possibly. The detrimental part of it is, yeah, you have more sites that you got to deal with, but you're spread out. So you also have the benefit of if something goes wrong at one site, say there's a storm that rolls through, a tornado, whatever it might be, your whole hash rate is not coming offline. Whereas you have like Riot is in 2 sites. Well, now they bought Block as well, so they're a little bit more diversified. And I think that's why they wanted to buy also Bitfarms, because of the diversification there. Because if a tornado runs through Rockdale or Corsicana, they're done for. I mean, depending on how long it's going to take them to rebuild and things like that, they could be done for 6 months to a year. So that's not always good either. Let's see. Hank the Tank here. Do you think BTC and the miners will crash if Harris wins in November? I don't. Honestly, guys, Bitcoin's been around, miners have been around for a while here. We've had the miners with Trump. We have had the miners with Biden as well. And we just go through these cycles regardless of who's in the White House, is what I'm trying to say. So I don't think so. We might have a couple days down maybe, but then they're going to bounce back up. Because, Biden's administration was pretty bad towards the miners. We had Operation Choke Point. We had them trying to get all this data on them from the energy, what is that? I can't remember now. Energy Institute or something like that. And the government, they're trying to get all this information on the location of the miners, the geolocation, how many miners they have, watts that they're using, all this stuff. So it was pretty bad, but the miners still did really well in 2023 and even into 2024 as well. So I think it doesn't really matter who's in the White House. Let's see. Mara does not dip as much as the other miners. Perfect example is Bitdeer today. Well, Bitdeer definitely dipped quite a bit here. Let's see. Laserbeam Sandwich says, thanks for all you do. Seb helps add clarity to an otherwise wild ride. What are your thoughts on BTC performance going into November? Okay. Thank you, and you're very welcome on that. As far as performance in November, I think we're going to trade sideways here through the end of August, possibly through September. Let me see if I can pull this up really quick for you guys here. Let me see if I can find it here really quick. If I find it, yeah, I found it. I think I found it. Did I find it? I did. Okay. So historical chart historical table on Bitfarms performance on monthlies. So as you can see here in August, historically, you can see it has been a red month for Bitcoin, right? September, not looking much better here. So I'm guessing that September and August are going to be probably flat months for us, maybe down months a little bit here on average. And then October starts looking much, much better here, which is what I expect Bitcoin to do this time around as well. Have a nice increase here along with November, especially as people start focusing more on their job instead of trying to squeeze out as many vacations as they can here in August and possibly into September before, the cold months happen and everything else in it. So I do believe October, November will be much better for us. Don't know exactly how much we're going to go up, but I do believe we're going to go up here. I still think we're going to be by the end of the year, possibly closer to like 90,000 in Bitcoin. I would be pleasantly surprised if we get over 100,000, but I think around 90,000 is kind of where we're going to be, give or take 10% or something like that, roughly, on that one. Okay. Back to the questions. Let's see. Do you think Hive can be a good target for a buyout? Looks very efficient and pretty cheap. Buyout by who? They do have sites, yes. That they run up great operations as well, but they don't have like Bitfarms had operational sites in Argentina, Paraguay, U.S., Canada as well, and they're growing tremendously. So they have a lot more megawatts under their belt, whereas Hive is getting 100 megawatts here that they bought as well. But still not as high as some of the other ones. Yes, they could be bought out, but I don't know how much of a buyout they would be of a target for them. Maybe for an HPC player, maybe, on that one. Let's see. Which miners beside Terawulf and Cypher have the low power costs? So Terawulf has, on average around 3 cents or something like that. Cypher has around 2.6, 2.8 cents power costs. I don't know who else has that low. The other miners have them around in the high 3s, low 4s. That's kind of where we're seeing things here. And then depending if they can curtail and get power credits for it, like we've seen with Riot, they get pretty close to those numbers as well, but not exactly there. So I think those are the only ones really. Let's see here. Diana says, Ben is taking away every point of leverage Jason Les has in their hostile takeover attempt by adjusting their board now. I agree. I think so, right? You got Jason, or you got Ben on there right now on the board. He's not an independent one. They do have another person getting onto the board as well. And they got also, what's his name? I'm drawing a blank now on the name. One of the co-founding members of Bitfarms there. So he's off the board. They got somebody else in there. That's a good thing. They also got Fanny Phillip in there. I think that was a great get for them. So the board is looking much, much better here than it was just 5-6 months ago. So it is looking much better. So Cleanspark to 100 says, not too complicated, just buy Cleanspark. But you never know. Other miners could do really well as well. It just takes one news story on any of these guys here to drive them up to the moon. Let's see. David says, I invest in Hive simply because I trust them. I invested in Hive as well from 2017, 2018. My mistake was not selling them towards closer to the peak of 2021, where Bitcoin was at 60-some thousand. So I round tripped them all the way through, and then finally sold them last year in December timeframe, only because I didn't see the growth that I was seeing with other miners like Cleanspark, IREN, and Bitfarms. So I took some profits that I had in there and I moved it all over into that. That's why I was in Hive for such a long time, is because their operations have been always great. Efficiencies have been always great. They don't pay exorbitant salaries to their employees, to their CEOs, and not a lot of stock-based compensation as well, which was all great. They're very efficient in those regard. Right. I wish they would just have more growth. That's the only thing I really wish, Hive. So Frank, if you're listening, or Aiden, if you're listening, grow some more. I think you guys would do much better that way. Let's see. How much Cleanspark costs per BTC? Cleanspark, based on my just quick and dirty numbers on them, based on the financials here, their cost to mine Bitcoin was, I got a 28,000. So this is just using the power cost, or the cost that they included for that, minus depreciation. I got a 28.5 thousand. And that is based on, let me see down here so you guys can see here. Where's it at? Expenses. So we're looking at cost of revenues, exclusive of depreciation and amortization. Energy, hardware, sources, revenue, expenses. Yeah, so we're using this 45, right? If we're looking at up here, 25,380. Yeah. So we're just looking at, that's not it. That's not what I'm looking for. Where's it at? Up here. Here it is. Yes, we're just taking the BTC that was mined in the quarter and actually dividing the cost of revenue divided by the BTC mined. That's what I'm getting at right there. Okay. On that one. I'll go back here. Let's see. Chris says BTC pumping again. Is it pumping again? Oh yeah, it is. It's up another $600 here. All right, that's good. It's a good sign. We're back above our support here at 58,000 or 53,000. 57,500. Sorry. Yeah, we're above that, so that's looking pretty good here. And we'll see where it goes. As long as we stay above our support here at 57.5, I think we'll be good. If not, we'll be falling back down a little bit more. So yeah, I mean, things change so quickly here in Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners. Let's see. If Bitcoin is at 150,000, do you expect a 5x from the current levels for Bitcoin miners? You mean? Do you expect a 5x from current levels for Bitcoin miners? Yeah, I would think it would be close to between 3 and 5x, somewhere around there, depending on the miners. So it might be actually higher than that as well. Let's see. Cleanspark 200 says 3 to 4 weeks to buy miners before takeoff. That's kind of what I'm thinking also here. So I want to buy some more next week potentially. I got to scrounge out some more cash. Let's see. M says so many scammers in financial market. It's hard to trust anyone. Yeah, I agree with you. I know how it is. I've watched some of these guys as well, and that's one of the reasons I don't do any paid advertisements or anything like that or sponsorships. I just don't trust them, and I get a bunch of offers all the time. It's just if I wouldn't use it, I wouldn't try to sell it to you guys either. What else we got here? Christian says buy Bitfarms. Christian's going to bed, it looks like. Let's see. M says I've put too much into Bitfarms already. Me too. Let's see. Sebastian, do you think the market will continue to be green tomorrow into next week? Oh gosh, I don't know. Any little news story could, flip it back to red possibly. I don't really care about the daily. The only thing I really care about seeing is red days. If I see red days and have cash, I want to buy into those. But in general, I really don't care where Bitcoin or Bitcoin miners go on the day-to-day side of things. I'm more concerned about the long time frame, the next 9 to 15 months, because we're already 3 months after the halving event. So typically between 12 to 18 months after the halving event is where Bitcoin kind of peaks, and that's kind of where I'm more focused on that to see if we can get there in that time frame. Let's see. BZ Trade says, hi Seb, I'm 20. I've been in the miners for about a year. Bought Cleanspark at 7. I just deposited cash. What are the best two miners in terms of how many X's they can do? Thanks. Right now, based on the numbers that I'm seeing here, I think honestly Bitfarms I think still is way undervalued, but there's reasons for it because Riot's trying to buy them out. So there's overhang from that. A lot of the other issues have been fixed with Bitfarms. Then I also think IREN is quite a bit undervalued compared to the other miners. But it's had a pullback because of the short report as well. They didn't have a great month in August. So that might be another one. After that, I would look into like Cleanspark, CORZ, and then I would look at Riot and Marathon as well. Let's see. Andrea asks, Sebastian, when BTC reaches 100,000, do you have a price target for Mara and IREN? Well, at that point, we're looking at roughly a 2x on Bitcoin, right? So I would expect at least possibly like a 3x to a 5x on these guys at that point. So wherever the price is at on these miners right now, you can multiply it times 3 or 5 possibly, as long as we have a nice move up in Bitcoin itself, just a nice steady move up. And if the miners don't do anything crazy, I think that would at least a 3 to 5x, I think would be palatable. Let's see. Astromom says, hope to be celebrating a little with you all in a month and a whole lot by New Year's. Congrats to all the long-time holders for patience. Yes, you really need to have patience in here in this space. It's definitely not easy. Christian says, I like those 3 too. Bitfarms, Cleanspark, IREN. Yeah. Let's see. Mark says, too much Bitfarms. That's like too much cowbell. That's funny. Let's see. What else we got here? David says most of the good miners will 5x, great ones will go berserk. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna go berserk, but I would expect at least somewhere between 5 and 10x on some of these guys, possibly. As long as we kind of have good news coming out from them, Bitcoin continues to go up to 150,000, maybe plus. Yes. Let's see. Gary says Mara seems to be abandoned goals to be an efficient miner. They have raised market cap through non-accretive dilution. Other miners are growing market cap faster than their dilution. Yeah, I think I may kind of agree with that slightly. Let's see. Did you find out where Cleanspark is going to host their new miners from their earnings call? At their current facilities, they are exchanged or replacing some of the older miners. So the S19 XPs, S19 Pros, S19 XPs, a lot of those are going to be basically swapped out with the latest generation of miners. So they're going to be probably maybe retrofitting some of those facilities there, so considering that they are mostly immersion cooled miners, I think. So there's going to be a lot of growth just in that sense alone. What else we got? Astronaut says my portfolio is a ridiculous array of options. Let's see. It said, I really think the first rate cut September 18th is our catalyst, but farms will hopefully go to at least 4 by October 29th board meeting, then maybe shortly after bye-bye Riot, right? Too expensive then. Yeah, at $4, I would think would be possibly too expensive. They still could possibly do it. That would give Bitfarms a market cap. Where are they at right now on market cap? Let me go to my chart here really quick. Market cap. That would give... Oh, let's see here. Where's Bitfarms? Bitfarms at 900. It's basically, it would give them roughly 2 billion market cap. Right, might be able still to squeeze that, but it's definitely be much less palatable for them to do so. Also, if the vote goes against Riot and the board members that they want to appoint there, I think at that point Riot will give up, but we'll see. All right, what else we got here? You guys have a lot of questions here tonight. M says I'm out of cash. Me too. I'm in the same boat as you are. Christian says we're all out of cash. Let's see here. Mark says he's got another 10K coming this month. Nice for you. Great job. I mean, if you can get more miners, that's great. Let's see here. Do miners announce AEI HPC contracts during earnings call? Looking at you, Digital. I would think if they had got a contract that's signed, they would do it before the earnings call. So I don't know if they don't have to wait until the earnings call. They can do it before then. Let's see. What else we got here? What are your thoughts on Bitdeer and what is your price prediction for it in the near future? I think they should be, like double from where they are right now, to be honest. And we looked at Bitdeer here earlier on as well, I think. Let's see, Bitdeer. Let's take a look. Yeah, we talked about it. I mean, even right now, I'm between $14 and 21 cents. That kind of includes all their businesses, not just Bitcoin mining here. It includes their cloud, hash rate, whatever else they have in there as well. This does not even include them selling Bitcoin ASICs to other customers. This is just on that, and I have them between 14 and 21. They're at 633. I think they are undervalued. They should be at least 2x from where they are right now. Going where they could go in the future, gosh, I don't know. I mean, much higher from there, I guess, with Bitcoin going up in value. Let's see. Things are constantly changing. Yes, they are. That's kind of why we keep track of everything. Keep track of all the changes that are happening. Let's see. Lazaro says, how is Cleanspark going to get to 50x session 25? I think their goal is to replace all the old miners and plug in the new 21 Pros and XPs, but I feel like they're going to need more infrastructure to get to 50 exahash. Well, their goal is to get to 32 exahash this year, I believe. They do have miners on order that's going to get them to like 50 exahash, and that's a good question. I have the same question because a lot of the miners are supposed to be delivered this year still, so it's like they're going to have roughly 18 exahash machines just sitting around, not having a place to go. So they might be still looking for places to put those into. But yeah, that is definitely a good question. How does the Bitfarm board change help them on the takeover attempt? It just helps them convince the institutions not to vote against them. That's one of the things. Yeah, I mean, you have much better team in place at that point. You have the founders out, basically out of the board. It does make it a much better board in the long run. So, and that should help. Sadie, thank you. Yes, likes help the channel a lot. I do appreciate that. Let's see. What would be the top 5 or 3 top 3 miners based on available megawatts? Thanks. Unavailable megawatts, then you're looking at IREN. IREN supposedly has a pipeline of like 3 gigawatts that they can have access to. Then you got, after that, I think it's Riot still with what they have, probably followed by Marathon, and Cleanspark is just, buying these smaller sites and then retrofitting them to their needs. But they don't have anything in the pipeline that's, 1 gigawatt plus. So that's kind of the top 3, I guess you could say there. See. Hank says, I know we talk about miners here, but I recently bought some BITO, which pays dividends, and as of late, the dividends payout is very high. Next month is $1.60 per share. Insane. Wow, that's really good. Thanks for sharing that. I mean, we talk about Bitcoin miners, but if there's something that's making money for you, yeah, definitely share it. Let's see. Diana says, Sebastian, I think that Bitfarms is Riot's last hope of survival. Do you? For Riot to survive? Oh, no. Riot still has a really good growth here for this year. They're supposed to get to like 31 exahash. If they can do that, they've already gotten to 20 some. So I think they can get to 31 exahash by the end of the year without a problem. They got plenty of cash right now. They just got a new ATM as well. And they're going to be fine. I don't think that's the reason. I think the main reason for Riot to get Bitfarms was, one, Bitfarms was way undervalued because of all the FUD that was around it, right? The stock was like even below almost $1 here at one point this year. And they saw Bitfarms as a possibly good get there because of that. Plus, their operations have been also really good here over the last, number of years, and they're well diversified in Argentina, Paraguay, U.S., and Canada, and they have also been there. So I think that was one of the reasons why they wanted to get after Bitfarms. But I think maybe they've been a little bit too stubborn in that, where you kind of double down on your bet and you're trying to get it at all cost here. Maybe that's not going to work out too well for Riot, at least. Let's see. I asked Seb to do an updated on price targets if BTC reaches 100,000, and he said he would. So I am looking forward to that. Yes, I will do that. Maybe I'll run the numbers this weekend. Actually, no, I can't run the numbers this weekend because I'm still waiting on 2 companies to report their financial results. Once I have those, then we will do that. So it may not be until September sometime, guys. Unless you guys want me to exclude. Who are we still missing here on the numbers? Let me take a quick look at it. Where's my market cap? Enterprise, I'm still missing. Who am I missing here? I'm missing Bitdigital, which I think is supposed to report next week, and IREN. IREN's probably not going to report until maybe somewhere around September, maybe, because I think theirs is the annual, which has to be audited. It takes always longer time to get that one in. So we'll see. I'll give it maybe another week or so. We'll see what we get. Okay, but I will do that for you guys. Oh, we're already still on that one. Okay. Let's see. What is the historical data on stock performance in companies in a situation as Bitfarms finds themselves with possible hostile takeover? I don't know. This is the first time I've run into it with the Bitcoin miners, so I don't know how that's going to work out for them. Let's see. Let's see. Sailor about to buy a stack of BTC or just did. Yeah, I think he was doing another... oh gosh, another funding run for it for convertible notes, I think, right? Enrico, also hit the like button, everyone. Appreciate it. Thank you. Mark says, Seb, you are by far the Bitcoin and Bitcoin miner channel. Great data. You do so much for the industry, for teaching and understanding the companies. Have a great night. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. Yeah, I love the data. So as long as you guys enjoy the data as much as I do, I'm just a data nerd at this point. But thank you. Let's see. It sucks that I got to pay some major expenses this month. That reminds me, I still have to pay my property taxes this month. So I got to make sure I have enough to cover that, and then I can buy. Oh, man. You reminded me of it. Let's see. Some most miners reached the 0 and 0.6 Fib level, Fibonacci level. I think some have even gone lower than that, haven't they? From the tops that they have had. Let's see. Mark says I went full throttle today. IREN MicroStrategy. I don't know what MSTY was. Digital, Bitfarms, Cleanspark, and Cenovi, and still have dry powder if we make up to a dip. Nice. Let's see. Ashram says Hive options are very cheap. Bought more today, and Bitfarms I have shopping problem. I think we all have a shopping problem with some of these miners here. Let's see. Cleanspark at 2025 peak. My price target is still around $70 for them. This bull run, we'll see how close we can get to that. It might be even higher than that, depending where Bitcoin goes. It might be even lower if Bitcoin goes lower. I put a moon, and Sebastian thought I was going. Well, need a rocket ship to the moon. Rocket ship and then moon. Then I know you're going to the moon here. I thought moon is like you're getting sleepy here. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Most of the miners have retraced half 0.5 to 0.618 Fibonacci retracement. So bullish, and the rest of the August and September is a great time to accumulate. Yeah. Let's see. Thinking about buying Bitdeer now if it dips before the earnings. Before percent dollar change. Bitdeer already came out with their earnings, didn't they? Yeah. Yeah, they already did. See, Hunter Q, if Riot owns 20% of the institution and institutions own another 20%, we need to remember some retail Bitfarms holders also own Riot, and those holders might vote in favor of Riot. Yes, that is very true. So it's going to be close, right? 40% owned by Riot and the institutions. Maybe the institutions at this point don't go with Riot on it because they can see that there's maybe more potential for Bitfarms to stay as a single entity. That's going to be interesting when October comes around, especially the end of October. And then I'm continuing on here. And Riot has a bigger market cap, so Riot might have a lot of investors, which also have Bitfarms. That is also true. Let's see. Andrea says, thank you, Sebastian. Andrea, thank you for coming in. You're very welcome as always. What else we got here? Who are you talking to announce next AI HPC kind of CORZ versus everyone else? Who are you thinking to announce? I would say possibly either Terawulf or Cypher maybe. We saw, what did I say? Terawulf or Cypher. Mawson announced this past week, right? On Monday, I think that they had a HPC contract there, which was a surprise to me on that one. So those are the ones I'm thinking of right now. Let's see. BT says, we appreciate your sense of integrity, especially in the steering clear of some of those financial ad scammers. Yeah. I was always surprised by the people talking about finance and all that, and they were, being promoting BlockFi, Celsius, where you were getting these huge yields, right? I was like, man, those yields are too high. Those are not going to be around forever. And sure enough, they ended up going bust. Unfortunately, it was just not worth it. So they kind of lost a little bit of their reputation at that point, I think. That's why I don't want to do it. I mean, the cash would be great, but it's not worth it. Is there any concern for a rising cost of power for the miners? I mean, power is going to raise it regardless, right? It's been raising for as long as I remember. As each year goes by, the power goes up a little bit here over time. So that's going to happen because of inflation nonetheless. As far as huge increase, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the United States, other countries as well, will build out more capacity if it's needed there, right? If there's demand, supply will come online. Robin says, as always, great job. Thank you. Bitfarms are just getting better and better. I believe the same thing. Yeah. Let's see. What is Cleanspark's current cash? They'll need to raise more to acquire more sites. Cleanspark here reported. Let's see. What did they report? Cleanspark. Let's look at them really quick. Cash assets, cash and cash equivalents, they had 126 million at that point. Digital currency was 413 million. They got plenty of cash, I think, right now to buy possibly some more little sites here. Going forward, they still have the ATM that they can pull on as well. So they do have that going for them also. So I think they're fine position here. Eventually, I think they will start selling. Well, I'm hoping they start selling their Bitcoin as Bitcoin starts going up into a bull run like they did last time. I don't know if I would be a fan of them holding it through the bull run and into another bear market, which I hope they don't do. But we'll see. All right, I'm trying to catch up to all you guys' questions here. Alberto says, I'm new to the group. Great content and info. Great, appreciate it. Thanks for coming in. Subscribe if you enjoy it. Let's see. Is Mara still a good hold? They seem to continuously dilute. It seems like it'll be hard for them to reach their previous highs if they continue this. Okay, so you got to look at dilution. I think if you hold, if you have marathon stock already, I would say hold it. They have the name recognition, which I keep saying all before. If you search for Bitcoin miners, what's the top one that shows up? Marathon. They have the name recognition. They also have a huge hodl position. They are growing their hodl here as well, even more. They're going to be buying Bitcoin. I think in the long run, it's going to be good. If they sell it, I don't know if they're going to hold on to it through the bear market again. If they sell a portion of it in the bull, I think that'll be great. They also have great growth going forward. And with dilution, all the companies here are diluting. So it's really just, is it accretive to investors at that point? Can they give you more for it? So we've had a lot of dilution here in the last couple of years, yes, but the miners have grown from basically being at 3.5 exahash now to being 20, 30, 50 exahash in just a couple of years here. So at that point, this should also help them generate more revenue than they did in 2021 cycle, which would then possibly get them back up to the previous all-time highs maybe. It just depends on where Bitcoin goes and how much more they dilute in the next basically 9 to 15 months, where we might peak at that point with Bitcoin, but we'll see. Let's see. Hank says, thank you, Sebastian. Hank, you're always very welcome, buddy. You're our minor rock star. We love you for all that you do. Have a great night, sir. Thank you. Have a great night, too. I'll catch you in the next one. Let's see here. I'm gonna butcher your name, and I'm sorry. Mbessa? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Mbessa. Just swapped my Bitfarms for Cleanspark after Cleanspark dipped to 11. Bitfarms seems range bound by Riot. I would agree with you there. Can't understand why Bitfarms hasn't gone higher if Riot keeps buying their shares and their size of ownership. Yeah, I think it's just the buyout potential that's a concern there with them. I own both Cleanspark and Bitfarms. What else? See. If Bitfarms exercises their call option on BTC, couldn't they be able to buy Bitcoin for cheaper? Possibly. Like I said, I'm not an options expert or anything like that, you guys. So, I mean, it does market stats. I think you might know this better than I do. Share with us down below if you think that's a good thing, if they could do that. Let's see. What's your target for IREN at the peak? For the peak, my target for IREN was around $80. I think that's a conservative estimate on them. Let's see. I'm all in on WGMI. Your thoughts? I'm also all in on WGMI and what's the other one? BitQ? Is that the one? Can't remember. Yeah, BitQ. So WGMI in my 401k profit sharing plan, that is like 95%, and BitQ is like 5%. I am all in on that. Whereas before I was into other funds and things like that, but luckily the company that I work for allowed us to do ETFs instead of buying mutual funds and things like that. So that actually happened. Perfect timing for that. That happened in 2023, January. That's basically where the miners have bottomed out. And at that point, I was just selling the mutual funds and I was buying as much of WGMI at that point as I could. So I have a very, very nice position in that. It has done very well for me in that account. So if it works out the way I think it's going to work out, I will have a nice retirement nest egg for when I do retire. Let's see. Christian says that Bitfarms, I believe, will keep tapping the ATM for Riot to keep buying. Maybe. Yeah. If Riot buys out Bitfarms, can they keep Ben as a CEO and remove Jason? Well, that's one of the things that might be a double-edged sword here a little bit, right? You remember when Riot, or not Riot, Hut 8 merged with USBTC? What happened there? The CEO of Hut 8, Jamie Leverton, was let go, and Asher Goodnick got put into the CEO. Could that happen with Riot? Maybe. I don't know. Right? Careful what you wish for sometimes. Let's see. Salim says, I put 11,000 into IREN. I either make it or sink it. Well, you'll make it. Be patient. You'll make it. Enrico says, Seb, you're much like me, data nerd. I think you would enjoy reading Jeff Booth's book, Deflation, the Price of Tomorrow. Let me write that down. I like reading those kind of books. Let me see here. Hold on. Jeff Booth. Bear with me, guys. Sorry. I got to write this down before I forget. Because I do forget. My memory is not that great as it used to be. It never was really great. My memory with people that I meet, names, oh my gosh, it's so terrible. I don't know what I would have to do to remember people. I have to see them like a couple of times to remember their names, that I deal with them. Jeff Booth's Deflation. The Price of Tomorrow. Okay, price. Trying to write this down as fast as I could. Price of Tomorrow. Thank you for that. I'll definitely check it out. What else we got here? Let's see. What price target do you have, BitDigital, over the next 3 months? Thanks. Over 3 months is kind of hard to figure out where things are going to go on it, but BitDigital, let's take a look at them, where they are right now, where I think they should be. I think they're undervalued. They should be at least probably like double from where they are right now. I'm between 406 and 609. They're at 286 right now. And I think they're being undervalued because they don't own any infrastructure. I keep saying that every time I do a talk on BitDigital. It's just they're asset light. Yes, they have a great customer with HPC AI that they're making a boatload off, but I think because they don't have infrastructure, they're not being valued properly because of it. I could be wrong on it, but that's kind of my sense on it. So I do think they should be higher from where they are right now. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Gary says, every miner that who hodled through last bull sold for a loss in the bear. Cleanspark did the best hodl at 36,000 and selling at average of 30,000. All others did worse. So bad records of miners hodling. Yeah. No, I agree with you 100% there. Cleanspark did the best job. They were selling into the bull run and out of the bull run as well. They did a fantastic job at that point, and they were able to grow from basically being a nobody with having what? They had 100 petahash at the beginning of 2021 to having now 21 exahash or 22 exahash, wherever they're at right now. Just in basically, was it 2021, 22, 23, 3.5 years or so, being the second biggest here miner. Unbelievable job by Cleanspark. Let's see. If Riot is buying all the shares apparently in Bitfarms, why hasn't the stock run up at all? Riot buying close to 20% should have made the price run up huge. Instead, the price did nothing. Well, we also had Bitcoin coming down. We had, I think that also contributed to it. The miners were coming down. Even Bitfarms was also using the ATM. Combine all those things, and that's kind of what you get. Your IREN $80 price target, is that your long-term forecast? At what price would Bitcoin have to be at $80? Probably like around $150 or more, right around there. I'm guessing probably between 150 and 200,000. I'm guessing somewhere right around there. Let's see. Let's see. Dan says it would take Ben forever to fix Riot and bring to Bitfarms standards. Maybe not. Their operations are Riot's operations are mainly based on the power curtailment, power credits, and things like that. If they can figure out I don't know. I mean, that's the big thing there. So I don't know if this could be easy to fix. You could be right there. It might be hard to fix that, depending on what type of contract they have there. Esther Mom says, Seb's going to retire early. Congrats. No, because if I retire early and I pull the money out of the 401k, I have to pay a penalty at that point. So either I'm going to have a good retirement or my wife's going to have a great retirement if I don't make it to, what does it have? I have to be like 65, I think, in order to pull it out at that point. So if I don't make it to 65, which means that's only 19 years away, roughly. If I don't make it that long, my wife and kids will have a great retirement on me. which has always been the plan. So I always wanted to make sure that my wife, kids are taken care of if anything ever happens to me. Kevin, thank you so much for the super chat. How do you remember M. Sebastian? I love you all. I know things are tough now for many, but great things often take time, trust, and truth and God. Absolutely. Yeah, be patient out there. Let's see. Have you looked into Giovanni, an Italian mathematician who discovered Bitcoin, followed the power law? Yes, I've seen that. Yeah, I've actually watched a video on it by, it was by two people that did a video with him. I think it was Andre Zick did a video with him, and then somebody else did a video with him as well. Very interesting. Made a model in 2018 that has correct predicted bit, price ever since. Several mathematicians with PHs. Yeah. So that's one of the things that we're looking at is power law. We're also looking at the, what's the other one? From Plan B, the stock to flow model as well. Okay, so PhD such as Frez Kruger acknowledging it. Yeah. Let's see. Kevin says, you got so big you don't remember brick and mortar. What? Well, gosh. I'm telling you, I'm terrible with names. If I don't deal with you on a daily basis, my gosh, my memory for names and individuals is bad. So I apologize if I don't remember you. Or you might be something, are you a different handle on Patreon and Twitter maybe? That's maybe why. That's right. I have members in Patreon and in Twitter and here as well. And they don't use the same name. So it makes it very, very tough sometimes to remember everybody that's involved here. So I do apologize, Kevin. But I know I see you here every day that I'm on the stream here. So I greatly appreciate you coming in here. And for all the super chats and everything else. I greatly appreciate it. All right. Mark says, Kevin with the guilt trip. LOL. Yeah. LOL. All right. I love you guys. But we'll call it a day here. We've been going on for an hour, close to an hour, 15 minutes or so. So not too bad. But yeah, that is it, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see what happens tomorrow. If anything juicy happens, actually, no. I apologize. Tomorrow's Friday. Tomorrow, you guys are going to be celebrating the week being over. So will I. My son is doing a marching band. So he's actually doing that at a local town that is having a parade. That's going to take me through probably 8 o'clock or something like that. So we possibly will not do a live stream tomorrow unless something really massive happens tomorrow that we have to talk about. Then we'll do it at that point. Okay. So otherwise, we'll see you guys on Sunday's video, probably live stream. We'll get into other things as well in that one, possibly some other metrics that we can look at for the miners so far. Okay. That's it. Again, thank you all for coming in here. Thank you to everyone that keeps coming in, asking the right questions, and greatly appreciate you guys spending the time here. So have a great night. Have a great weekend. Tomorrow's Friday. Oh my gosh. And have a great weekend. I'll see you guys in the next one.